Hello and welcome back. My name is Maxim from Reify Academy, and this is part 7 of Dark Lang overview, where we're going to look at how to factor our code into functions. So we're going to take this example, which strangely called bonkers line, when I can actually move this. So whenever you cannot move, as a hint, you can click here. And when you see it's not working, then you need to refresh the whole thing. The editor, as I've mentioned before, is still going through a bunch of bug fixes, so hopefully you get better experience than me. So let's say we want to extract this code. This is getting quite wild and wide, and it would be nice to have some kind of better way to really update our customer. So let's start with a simple thing. We can go here and press Alt X, and we can say extract function. And what it does, it will create a function which is this crazy name. It will pass the value and the key here. As if you're familiar with functional programming, you notice that that kind of makes no sense. We should just be able to pass a function here. I do believe that Dark has plans to be able to just pass the function directly. I don't think it's implemented yet. But let's look at this function first. So we have this function with a crazy name, which kind of doesn't really make sense. So let's call it something, make everyone is admin. That's what this function does, essentially. You notice as soon as I renamed here, it renames here automatically, which is quite nice, I think. Especially if you don't need to go to some special mode to rename this, it just works automatically. And as soon as you press this play button, it actually runs this function with the old values that we have. So if you had a HTTP call which you want to try, what happens if I change this and this and this, and then I run it with the same data that I had before, you can do that. So if we go back to the function, this is kind of still a bit wild here, and we have all these parameters. So what I would like to do is actually make this function a bit easier to work with. And instead of us creating a function, make everyone is admin for everything, let's just create a new function here. And we're just going to press play here. And we're going to call this function update customer. And I'm first going to show you how to do this manually, and then you'll see. So let's say we first specify the data like we had there, and then we specify the string. Data was a dictionary, and then the second parameter we have is the key, and it's a string. So we want to get that specific customer. So that's only updating the customers. It doesn't let us update everything. It's just the customer. And we wrap it in let. So it's our existing. It has this weirdest thing. You see when I'm typing sometimes too fast. It has this strange bug, which I think they said they're going to fix in a couple of days. So after we get our existing data, now we can do all of this dict merge stuff. We take the existing data, and the data that is passed here is essentially the data that we want to update the customer with. So imagining that we had our customer update function, we're essentially creating that. So this is our, so let's wrap it in let, this is our updated data. And now we can just call dbset. And we use this updated data here. We use the key, which is passed to us, and we use the customers. And this is our new function. So as you can see, the function is not called yet, and we can't even call this because they grayed out. So it doesn't know what we pass as a variable. So what we can go is go back here. Oops. We go back here. Yep. The editor sometimes does this strange stuff with you. So we go back here and we remove everything. As you can see, kind of when you remove, there's like, I'm not doing anything strange, it's just the editor is doing this weird stuff when you kind of renaming things. It doesn't, when you're removing, I've noticed with the removal, it's quite a big problem sometimes to remove, because you're kind of removing, but if you're doing it too fast, there is like a delay or of some kind, and it doesn't do what we really wanted to do. Okay, so I finally removed everything. Then we can do db set, not db set, we can call the function update customer that we just created. And instead of passing the data that we had, because this is a function maker on isAdmin, we can just pass isAdmin, admin, true, whoops, and then we pass the key here. So, key, yes. So now we don't need the value anymore, so we can get rid of this. And we can just call this function, and kind of now it's not going to be clear that it actually did anything because our customer, Jack, is already an admin. So we can either, let's change the Jack to be not admin. So we're going to create another customer, Jack. And because we just do query 1, we probably want to change this to be query with key. And it will allow us to see multiple one of them, so we can see all the Jacks, because there is like actually, we have a lot of Jacks there. Did I run this? Oh, yeah, see whenever it's red, it doesn't work. So you saw me doing it in the previous video, and I did the same mistake in this one. So we have one admin, one not admin. So if I actually run this function now, we can just go here and see that, don't forget to press the update, another update, that it's supposed to actually done the thing, and it says true here, so I wonder why that didn't work. Okay, so the reason it didn't work is actually because I've only run, and this is something to keep in mind, when you just run this function, it doesn't rerun all of it. So our non-admins variable only contained one of Jacks, because we did this some time ago, we never run the whole thing. So as soon as I press this, it set them all to admins, and now when I go to query here, I can see all of them became admins. So let's say we want to change this, because I don't like this key to be the last parameter, I want it to be the first parameter. To do this is a bit difficult with the current setup, is you can't change this directly. So it doesn't let us remove it because the parameter is used. But there is a very quick hack, is if you create the parameter with the same exact name, so let's say we call it key. See what happens? As soon as I did this, it actually allows us to remove the key now. So let's get rid of the key, and we want the data to be gone too, to be honest. Which kind of, you see what happens when I do this? It removes it. So the easiest thing is to just put like we need to give it something, which easiest thing is to empty string or null, and then the data. Now we can remove this. So we want to put the key as the first value, essentially. So key is the first now, and the data is the second. And this is a dictionary. And now we can get rid of these guys. And I know it kind of looks like a hack. It is a hack. But this is the hack that works for now. The only thing is when I remove the key, as you can see, it removed the key too there. So, and the data. So you kind of need to be a bit careful with when you're doing the removal. It's not a perfect hack, let's say. Now it seems to be everything again works, and The only thing is, if we try to call this, you will notice that we get an error. Expect to see value of type dictionary but found a string. It's because this is incorrect number of arguments. So it doesn't automatically change the arguments for you. So we need to actually go and get rid of this. Remove this completely. Put the key here, and then put the is admin true here. And I believe that then, again, let's set another one. So now we should have 3 jacks here. So we have 3 jacks, and if we run the whole thing, one of the jacks, as soon as we run this, becomes true. You notice this flips. Yeah, so this is how you create functions and how we create one manually and we extracted one, and renaming them is kind of a bit difficult. Changing the order of arguments is a bit of strange exercise. I'm not sure why this custom is red. But yeah, and so to remove the functions, you can go here, and right now we cannot remove anything. But if we have a new function which is not used by anything, there is actually a button here. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to use how to use another unique feature, which I think is practically one of the best features of Dark, is the history. So we're going to look at how to use with HTTP handlers, and yeah, it's a pretty cool feature. I'm excited to show you that.